In the heart of Oak Ridge, a small town shrouded in dense forests and whispering woods, a sinister legend has persisted for generations. The townsfolk speak of a tall, faceless figure known as Slender Man, who haunts the dreams and lives of those who glimpse him, driving them to madness. The myth tells of his unnaturally long limbs, his featureless face, and the eerie way he moves through the forest, silently stalking his prey. Children were warned never to venture too far into the woods, for fear of encountering the faceless stalker. On a crisp autumn afternoon, a group of teenagers, Jake, Sarah, Emily, and Tom, decided to explore the legendary woods. They had heard the stories of Slender Man all their lives, but dismissed them as mere ghost stories. Fueled by curiosity and a sense of adventure, they set out to uncover the truth. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the air grew colder, and an eerie silence enveloped them. The trees seemed to close in around them, casting long shadows that danced in the fading light. The friends joked and laughed, trying to mask their growing unease. "Come on, guys. It's just a myth," Jake said, trying to sound confident. "There's no such thing as Slender Man." "Yeah, but it's still creepy out here," Sarah replied, her voice tinged with apprehension. "Let's not stay too long." They pressed on, their footsteps crunching on the fallen leaves. Suddenly, Emily stopped in her tracks, her eyes wide with fear. "Did you see that?" she whispered, pointing to a dark figure standing among the trees. The others turned to look, but the figure was gone. "You're just seeing things, Emily," Tom said, trying to brush off the tension. "Let's keep moving." But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The image of the dark figure lingered in her mind, and a sense of dread settled over her. The group returned to town as night fell, each of them feeling a sense of relief, as they left the forest behind. They parted ways and headed home, but Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. That night, as she lay in bed, she had a vivid, terrifying dream. In the dream, she was back in the forest, surrounded by darkness. The trees loomed overhead, their branches twisted and gnarled. She heard whispers all around her, voices calling her name. She turned to see the tall, faceless figure of Slender Man standing just a few feet away. His long arms reached out toward her, and she felt an overwhelming sense of fear and helplessness. Emily woke with a start, her heart pounding in her chest. She tried to convince herself that it was just a nightmare, but the fear lingered. Over the next few days, she began to notice strange occurrences. Objects in her room moved on their own, and she heard faint whispers in the dead of night. When Emily confided in her friends, they were initially skeptical. But as the days went on, each of them began to experience their own unsettling encounters. Jake saw shadowy figures moving in the corners of his vision. Sarah heard whispers calling her name when she was alone. Tom found cryptic messages scrawled on his walls. The friends realized that they had brought something back with them from the forest. The legend of Slender Man was no longer just a myth, it was their reality. As the weeks passed, the friends' encounters with Slender Man grew more frequent and intense. The figure haunted their dreams and waking hours, driving them to the brink of madness. They felt a constant sense of being watched, and the whispers grew louder and more insistent. Jake became increasingly paranoid, convinced that Slender Man was following him everywhere. He isolated himself from his friends and family, his mind consumed by fear. Sarah's mental state deteriorated rapidly. She was plagued by nightmares and hallucinations, seeing Slender Man's faceless figure wherever she went. She withdrew from school and stopped attending social events, unable to escape the terror that gripped her. Tom's behavior became erratic and unpredictable. He began to exhibit signs of extreme anxiety and paranoia, lashing out at those around him. He started seeing a therapist, but the sessions did little to alleviate his fear. Emily, determined to find a way to break the curse, began researching the legend of Slender Man. She discovered accounts of others who had encountered the faceless stalker, all of whom had experienced similar symptoms of madness and terror. The stories spoke of the only way to escape the curse, confronting Slender Man in the heart of the forest and finding a way to sever his connection to their minds. Desperate for a solution, Emily convinced her friends to return to the forest. They knew it was a dangerous and terrifying prospect, but they couldn't continue living in fear. Armed with flashlights and a sense of determination, they set out on their journey back to the heart of the woods. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the air grew colder, and the sense of unease intensified. The trees seemed to close in around them, casting long shadows that danced in the flickering light of their flashlights. The whispers grew louder, and they felt Slender Man's presence all around them. "We have to stay together," Emily said, her voice steady despite her fear. "If we confront him, we might be able to break the curse." They pressed on, following the path that led them to the spot where they had first glimpsed the dark figure. As they reached the clearing, they saw Slender Man standing among the trees, his faceless figure illuminated by the moonlight. The friends felt a wave of fear wash over them, but they knew they couldn't back down. They had to confront Slender Man and find a way to break the curse. Emily stepped forward, her heart pounding in her chest. "Slender Man," she called out, her voice trembling. "We know you're here. We want to end this." The faceless figure turned toward them, his long arms reaching out. The air grew colder, and the whispers intensified, filling their minds with terror. "He's trying to get into our heads," Jake said, his voice shaking. "We can't let him." Emily took a deep breath and focused her thoughts. She remembered the stories she had read, the accounts of those who had confronted Slender Man and survived. She knew that the key to breaking the curse was to face her fear head-on and refuse to let it consume her. "We are not afraid of you," Emily said, her voice growing stronger. "You have no power over us." The others joined in, repeating the words and focusing their thoughts on resisting the fear. They felt a surge of strength and determination, their minds united in a single purpose. Slender Man's figure wavered, and the whispers began to fade. The air grew warmer, and the sense of dread lifted. The friends felt a wave of relief, as they realized that they were breaking free from the curse. With the curse broken, the friends returned to town, their hearts filled with a newfound sense of peace. The figure of Slender Man no longer haunted their dreams or waking hours, and the whispers had ceased. Over the next few weeks, they began to rebuild their lives. Jake reconnected with his family and friends, his paranoia and fear gradually fading. Sarah returned to school and social events, her mental state improving with each passing day. Tom continued his therapy, but he no longer felt the overwhelming sense of terror that had gripped him. Emily felt a sense of accomplishment and relief. She had faced her deepest fear and emerged stronger for it. She knew that the legend of Slender Man would always be a part of her, but she had found a way to overcome it. The story of the friends' encounter with Slender Man became a legend in Oak Ridge. People spoke of the group who had ventured into the heart of the forest and confronted the faceless stalker, breaking the curse that had haunted them. The tale served as a reminder of the power of fear and the strength that came from facing it head-on. The friends' journey inspired others to confront their own fears and find the courage to overcome them. As the years passed, the legend of Slender Man continued to be told, a chilling reminder of the faceless figure who haunted the dreams and lives of those who glimpsed him. But the story of Jake, Sarah, Emily, and Tom also served as a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of friendship and the resilience of the human spirit. And so, the curse of Slender Man remained a part of Oak Ridge's history, a haunting tale of fear and madness, but also a story of courage and triumph. The friends knew that they had faced the darkness and emerged stronger for it, their bond unbreakable and their spirits resilient. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling tale and want more engaging stories and content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue to bring you stories that ignite your imagination and keep you on the edge of your seat. Thank you for being part of our storytelling community.